right. I'm absolutely ecstatic for this one. It's been a long time coming at the Visionaries, but you might be asking, what is a visionary? A visionary is someone who sees into the future and they see something before anyone else does. So here at Visionaries, we have more people winning between the ages of 18 and 25 than I've ever seen. People who are looking to strive to level up physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially. So I can't be more excited to take you guys along with the journey with us. And I've got a straight killer here today. His name's Tommy Harris. Tommy, you've got one of the best stories that I've ever seen being in this industry. You're somebody who you came in about 2.5 years ago, and you were probably around average for the most part.
Yeah.
Right? And then as of late, you've really turned it up.
Yeah.
Crazy. So for you to go from being an average agent to now being a top producer, there's a lot that goes into that. But fill us into like what even got you into this space. What were you doing before, and like what's the background on Tommy Harris? What do they want to know?
Yeah. So I worked at a gym at the front desk before, really just scanning people in and out and making sure they were doing that right. Ben Bania got me into this. I saw his success in door-to-door sales over the summer, so I wanted to follow whatever he was doing because we were close friends back in high school. Once he came back and we kind of got into this together, it was really just hit the ground running. We got an office right away. We put ourselves in the position to be successful from what we were told and from the mentors that we had at the time to do everything we could to make this work. So we really, like I said, just hit the ground running. Started working diligently 6 days a week, 10 to 12-hour days. Never really looked back from there. And a long story short, but it's kind of how we ended up here, and that's how we started.
That's crazy. I love that. That's huge. So for you, what would be one of the key pieces of advice that you would give anyone stepping into sales? And then we'll get into your background.
Key piece of advice. I would say there's a lot of different aspects and a lot of different things that people need to embody when they're getting into sales in general and our industry especially. First thing is have a really strong mindset. That's going to be the foundation of what's going to continue to let you push forward and grow throughout however long. Obviously, I have a long-term mindset. I want to be in this for the long term. So I would say that that's definitely the key point of what you really need to have a strong mental fortitude from moving forward. And then also work ethic. I think that goes with anything, but super important to be able to stay focused, stay on task, be disciplined as you continue throughout and not get distracted, pretty much.
So you're from Michigan, not too far from here. Is it like Grosse Pointe?
Yeah.
Okay. You're from Grosse Pointe, and I know you've known Ben since high school. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you go to college? What did that look like for you?
So I did go to college. I went to Wayne State for like a semester, pretty much. I didn't like it there. I was in person, I was commuting, and it just was not my vibe. School in general wasn't my vibe, but I did end up going to Macomb after that, community college. So I had more online. I wasn't commuting as much. It was easier for me to do. And then also I could work because I just really liked making money. Like I know it wasn't much from where I was before, but I just liked working. I liked having money. I liked to be able to do other things other than school, and that was my way of doing it pretty much.
And for perspective, Tommy's the number one rep in Visionaries. So we've got about 80 agents, give or take, and he's the number one on the year so far. Whoever's number one, they're going to get a rollie. So they're going to be iced out in December at the end of the year. So super excited to see who's going to end up with that. But before this, and like you were doing it at a high level, what was the most amount of money that you had made like in a week or maybe in a month?
Like while I was still in the industry or outside?
Prior, like working at the gym.
Oh, I probably made like short of $1,000, like in between 500 to 700 in a week before, which yeah, it's probably like a little over $2,000, $3,000 in a month total.
And now you can make that in 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
That's insane. I've not seen anything like that. But I really want to give you your flowers. So I know a lot of people that are watching this probably don't understand like the the numbers they see in insurance, and there is a lot of fluff, and that's something that frustrates us. Is like you'll see a lot of business submitted, but when you go check the reports that are actually official, there's a big disconnect. So somebody like Tommy, he has very good business, he has very good placement and persistency, one of the top in the office. So not only is he writing the most, but he's also having the best persistency, which that's not always the case. So that's something I definitely want to dive into, in a little bit. But I think one of the things that I really respect about you, and we went over this morning at the morning meeting, is just the tenacity that you have when you come in. You're just going to go work. You're going to go do what you know you need to do. You're going to go make a ton of money and change your life. Yeah. And we broke that down earlier this morning of what that looked like. And it stemmed from your identity. And I think that's something that's super, super imperative that we need to hit on here today. So walk us through, what is identity? Why is it significant to you? And maybe like what's the shift look like, over your time? You're 21. So yeah. You're still very young.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think that played into a course of my life when I was in school, because I always had this, I guess, mindset or idea that I wanted to do something other than that. I wanted to go against the grain, right? But I spent a lot of time of, I don't want to say idolizing, but almost of like kind of looking up to other people, or like trying to do the same things that everybody else was doing. And that's a good thing in some scenarios, but it also came to be a bad thing just because I was not finding my own identity. So it was something more where I had to build my own personality, something for myself, and kind of realize that I was taking that to a little bit of an extreme. So getting into this actually really helped me with that, because I realized quickly that I couldn't just say and do everything that Ben Bania was doing, or Jimmy Valise, or any other people that we started with, because that wasn't my style. And then in terms of just like thoughts about the business and where I wanted to go, I realized that I didn't align with a lot of people. Another thing I learned very quickly, because I just have big visions for myself, and I want to take this to really high points where I had to realize that the people around me might not think the same way, and that's okay. It's just I can't rely on other people to help me do that when that's the case. So I think that was a big thing of just figuring out myself, like what's important to me on a deeper level, and then also just realizing that nobody's there to save me, and it's really up to me to get everything done.
Yeah, and that goes back to this morning talking about standards.
Yeah.
And when you're an elite producer like Tommy, and just like everything you do, you win, you're gonna have higher standards than everybody else. And if you want to be in the top 1% like Tommy, you can't be doing what 99% of people do and rely on.
100%.
So with that, I think diving into the identity just a little bit more, what would be some of the things that contribute to identity to you? Because in my eyes, it's more so your belief stems from it, your habits stem from it, your actions stem from it. Like all of these things that we're doing on a daily basis, subconsciously, we're going to be doing them to align with who we see ourselves as, or who we're trying to become.
Yeah, 100%. My belief in myself is really high in terms of like when you say standard of I expect a lot of myself. And again, kind of going back, I don't throw that on other people. Like I'm my own accountability partner. I know myself best. So I'm always going to strive to do the things and catch myself when I'm not doing the things to make it happen. So in future tense, like I want to be a good husband. Okay, what does that look like? I want to be a good dad. Okay, what does that look like? I want to provide financially. I want to be able to give my wife and my kids the things that will make them happy, right? And I want to be around. I want to not have to be stuck at a job and come home angry and have a beer and sit on the couch and not be happy with my life. So like not only providing that stuff for them, but also finding fulfilling things in my life where that's not going to boil over and make their lives more miserable. So that's kind of my idea of that.
That's huge. And our whole goal with this too is I don't really want to talk about insurance much at all. Like sales a little bit, but to me it's more so like what you just hit on is what are you doing outside of here? Like you'll hear it all the time. We're gonna preach. It's not about the sales or building the salesperson. It's build the agent, and then the rest is gonna come. So if you're doing the right things outside of here, like naturally all the results and the successes that we're all looking for, those are gonna come. So I think that's very powerful. And the only thing I would add is so many people they try to put you in a box. And that's just them not having the belief in themselves to where they're trying to justify capping your potential. And I think it's super impactful when you can realize you're capable of a lot more than the majority of people. So you're going to do everything that you can to align with that.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to speak to is some of the people out there who they see the future version of themselves as being very successful. They might be ambitious, but right now they either don't have the confidence or they don't have the proof of concept yet to necessarily have the belief of them being the best version of themselves, whether it's in business or in their fitness, their faith, their health, like any of those sectors. So what would be something that you think you would attribute to that very stark transition of when you first got into this to today?
Yeah. I think you just have to align yourself with the person that you want to become. And I think you talk about that a lot of the things outside of work are so important. Not only when you actually get an opportunity like this, but even when you're still searching for that opportunity. Like I was very consistent in the gym before I even got in here. Right? That wasn't something that you guys had to drive out of me or pull into me or make me start going to the gym. When you align yourself with the person you want to become by the habits, the good things that you're doing in your life, like you said, being healthy, having a relationship with God, so on and so forth, well, then those good things are going to come to you. And I think you can even attribute it to the people that you're hanging around and the things you're doing. So if you're partying and going out every weekend and just drinking and doing stuff that is not beneficial to your future self with a group of people, well, then you're going to have a standard of that and be the same type of people that you're hanging around. So
I like to bring up the cake story from the Ed Milet podcast. If you guys don't know Ed Milet, look him up. Phenomenal speaker, really, really good podcast. But he goes to a birthday party and he sits down at this table with a ton of really fit people. They sit down and the first three people, they don't want the cake. And he goes, like, any other environment he's sitting at, any other table, he's taking the cake. I probably would too. But because he's around that environment and like as humans, like we wanna fit in naturally. Mm-hmm. So that can be a really, really good thing or it can be an absolutely terrible thing, right? Like you hit on. So he refuses the cake. His buddy's like, hey, Ed, come on, like take the cake. And he's like, nah, I'm good. So they go around the whole table and nobody takes the cake. But how powerful analogy is that to where the environment that you have will directly impact, and that's a very small scale example, but when it's something a lot more powerful than the cake, like that's either going to make or break your success.
Yeah, it's a gift and a curse because if you utilize that the right way and use it to get around the right people, be around people who are doing the right things, and try and replicate what successful people are doing, people who you would want to be like, well, then that's going to help you in your life. And then in the cake scenario, you're kind of killing yourself. But
yeah, everybody wants a little bit of cake, but back to your point earlier, you gotta be disciplined with it. But I want to hit on two things there. So earlier we talked about leverage. It doesn't have to be in business, but talk about the importance of getting around the people that you either respect, look up to, or more so you want to emulate.
Yeah. When you, like, leveraging other people is the strongest thing that we have in life because it costs nothing, right? So you can be friendly to somebody, you can either be the one giving advice or reach out to receive advice, and most people with a good heart and people who are willing to help others will do that free of charge, right? So leveraging other people to get where you want to be is super important. Again, not even in business. You see it in the gym, right? A lot of gym bros and people who go frequently, someone you'll see in the gym constantly, you could just go up to them and ask for advice. Dude, they'll talk your ear off to the point where you're almost like, okay, too much. So same thing there where you can just utilize people who are in similar environments to you as long as you're doing the right things and trying to get to that point. Utilize those people and let that be something of a resource to you, because you can't do everything on your own. You're always going to need some help along the way, no matter what point you're at.
Yeah, I agree. Do you personally have somebody, whether it's in business or outside of business, that you align really well with, or that you like have as a role model for yourself?
Yeah, I do. It's honestly Ben Benya, the person who we work with, and he brought me in here. We've been really close for a while, and I think developing that friendship and similar ideas, because we even tried to do like some sort of business aspect before we were doing this, just like drop shipping and whatnot, but it wasn't nothing really major. But knowing that me and him had similar ideas and goals for ourselves later down the line really helped when we started actually working together in a vehicle that was like this, where we could actually make something of ourselves.
Shout out to Ben. He's going to be on here pretty soon because
Good dude.
he's a beast. He's definitely earned it. Last thing to wrap up on that front. There's a lot of talk about routines, habits, schedule, right? So what does this look like for you? Like, walk us through your daily Monday through Saturday, Monday through Sunday. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I'll do the full week because it all looks the same every week. I try and get to bed early as possible, so 10 and 11 in between there, most of the time. Sometimes we fall short, but always getting up by 7 a.m. For the most part as well, because need to have a dialed morning routine where I'm getting ready for the day. I don't necessarily go to the gym in the morning anymore. I'm more of a night gym, but I like to eat because I think that's the most important part of your day is getting a good breakfast in. And I like to obviously shower, just get myself ready and accustomed to starting my day rather than just rolling out of bed, driving to work, and here we are. So,
Did you ever do the latter there, like just roll out of bed and go to work?
oh yeah, even when I was working at the gym, I would do that. Like they asked me to come in at 8 a.m. I was
7:50, hit the
Yeah,
alarm.
I was waking up at 7:30, even school too. Like that was same type of habit, and that took me a little bit to get out of that I guess routine. So doing this job helped with that. I'm a lot more easier. Like if I have to get up at 6 a.m. for something, I'll do it. Like it's not a problem. But yeah, that for the most part it's 7 a.m. just getting ready and getting my mind right for the day. Come in here, work say 10ish hours for the most part right now. And then typically like to go to the gym after work, where honestly that's my happy place. Like I love going to the gym, and I think that it's really important to do, because if you find fulfillment and joy with going to the gym, not only are you going to stay healthy, but it's going to be somewhere where you're stuck in your own thoughts for a while. That's what I utilize it for, at least. And it helps me kind of ease my mind and think about the more critical points of business, outside life, personal relationship, friendship, whatever it is. It's really just a space where I can kind of turn that switch where I don't have to talk to anybody, I don't have to interact, and I'm just like with myself. And then I go home, eat dinner, shut the lights off. So
I think that's really good. The gym to you is kind of like a reset. It's not like a burden. It's not like it's something you have to do. It's more so you get to do it. Like you look forward to it.
Yeah.
Did you ever struggle with like staying consistent with the gym? Like earlier on, was it a more so of like, oh, I don't feel like doing this type of thing?
Honestly, no, and I think that plays into something I've utilized within our business is it was more so when I got the newbie gains and then I actually had to start working for more. So like getting in the gym, everybody knows, okay, that first 1 to 3 months, you're going to gain a lot naturally because that's just muscle. But afterwards, you have to start eating right, eat more if you were a skinny guy like me, or eat less if you were a little fatter. So you either have to cut down on weight or start building it more. And I didn't understand that process. I thought it was, oh, okay, just go pump the weights and I'll just keep getting bigger, bigger, bigger. But there was a lot more to it. And that's when the consistency part was hard. And I really had to realize that for myself and lock in for myself, because it's tough to understand that there's a lot more work that gets put into than just the gym, right? And the results are going to come from stuff you do outside of the gym. Just like with us, a lot of the results correlate with stuff you do outside of the work. So,
All right, so that's been a lot of good stuff right there. Lighten it up a little bit. What would you say is your favorite sports team?
the Detroit Tigers. I've always been a baseball fan. I love my hometown.
Is baseball your favorite sport then?
Yeah, that's what I majority played. That and soccer when I was growing up.
Let's go. Tigers for sure. As of late, I've had a little shift with the teams.
Yeah.
I'd go Lions, Tigers, Red Wings. Pistons are leaving a bad taste in the mouth, so
I know.
if they lose to the Magic, that ain't going to be good.
Yeah, that's true though. It's a lot more fun to watch the Lions when they're winning.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I never watched them. So.
That does make me think of something, though. So you played sports.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys here, a lot of our agents here have played sports, whether it was in high school or college, and they were doing it at a pretty high level. So is there any correlation or any translation from the characteristics or the traits like in sports that would transfer over in sales or in business?
Absolutely. I talked a lot about this to other agents within our office, and I think the main thing for me is the mindset and the discipline that comes from it, and also the self-respect and goal setting, because it didn't always correlate in the positions that I played, right? Because I don't choose where I play. I can only do so much to prove to my coaches or prove to other people that I'm the best one for that job, right? So with me, I always thought that within my mind. Okay, in baseball, you want to bat first or third and play shortstop or be a pitcher, right? So I always put myself in the position to try and be the best at those with the competing players on our team. So I think that correlates into our business today, where in my mind, when I walk outside in our main room, I always think I'm the best, right? And that's not coming from an ego standpoint. That's just me knowing the amount of work, effort, and skill that I've developed over the last 2.5, 3 years through doing this job, that I can do it to the highest ability. So I think that's where the correlation kind of comes in.
Yeah, and a little bit deeper too, like for sales, you don't just show up and produce at a high level. There's so many things behind the scenes that you're doing. Any of these other agents that are absolutely crushing this are doing to refine your skill set. In sports, you're not just showing up to the game and playing. You've got practice, but a lot of the guys, they're staying after practice. They're showing up early to practice. They're in the training room. They're doing recovery. They're in the gym. They're watching film. Their nutrition's on point. Their sleep, their hydration. So all of those little like fine-tuned things. In sales, it's are you staying late at the office? Are you preparing? This is something you do a really good job on Sunday. Like, are you preparing to set yourself up for success? I think one of the biggest mistakes newer people coming into this will make is they wait until Monday morning at 9:15 a.m. to start their week.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because they're not set up for success. So going into that a little bit, Sunday preparation, I'm a very firm believer, like, take your Sunday so you can reset, recharge, recalibrate, and like go 110% the rest of the week. But for you, what's something that's worked to help you tee yourself up for a really hot start on Monday?
Honestly, I don't like that. Like, I fell into the exact thing that you just spoke on, where a lot of people come in here on Monday morning and that's their start to the week. My starts of the week is getting in a gym workout, then running another 2-3 miles after that, then getting my mind right with either some sort of, I guess, meditation almost, or just being alone. Like I just like to, and that's my reset, right? Of just being alone and being within my own thoughts on Sunday. Okay, what do I need to do to prepare for next week and perform at the highest caliber? So mainly just going over what I'm getting in terms of leads, right? Um, and making sure that I'm getting to bed at a good time on Sunday, because if I'm well rested come Monday, sure, I feel a little bit sore in the body because I did a lot on Sunday, but that actually feels better to me just because it's like I feel like other people walk in sluggish. And even when that's how I felt when I used to just kind of cool it on Sundays and coast through the day. And then Monday comes and you're walking out and you're sluggish on Monday and you're taking a 30-minute break here and there. So,
It's real.
yeah.
So does your week start Sunday evening for you? Like when you're preparing like that, that's your marker?
Yeah. And I actually point this out to some people who I've talked about with. When you look at a calendar, Sunday is actually the start of the week. That's the first day of the week. So it's funny how a lot of people use it as like, okay, that's the last day of the week. It's actually not on a calendar. So I utilize it to do more productive things and just set myself up for success moving forward.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that gets really overlooked because Monday is like the start of the work week, but
Right.
the real week starts on Sunday. And for me, like I'm gonna go to church, usually go to breakfast, always get in some form of activity, whether it's pickleball or
Yeah.
just basketball, going outside. So I think that's very valuable, and like everybody's gonna have a different way to reset. Like you mentioned, going to the gym, meditation, being in silence, like those are all really good tactics. So I hope there's some stuff you guys have been able to take down so far, just to apply to your lives. Like I don't really care about making this about sales or business, to be honest with you. It's like how can you be a better person? And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that Tommy is giving all of us like completely for free that are going to be absolute game changers for any of us tuning in. So the next thing I want to dive into is we've hit on a little bit of everything so far. What are some of your goals? I mentioned it a little bit earlier here in the show, but what's your goal in business, we'll say, this year? You can touch on long term if you'd like. And then what are some things that you're actively striving to do outside of work that you have ambitions with?
Yeah. I'll say personally, I would like to sell over 750,000 this year, which would come out to an annual salary of roughly like 400 to 500,000, depending on how that shakes out. Long term, I do want to touch on that because
Yeah.
I'm super excited to get to long term, but I know it takes a lot to get there. But long term, I want to be able to help a lot of other people, even like you just said, not in business, but just in general. Like that's something that really fulfills me, of giving people this opportunity, because I wouldn't say I was at a super low point of when I got in here, but I definitely wasn't happy with where I was at. So getting this opportunity completely changed my life, perspective on things, and the way that I carried myself. So I want to be able to help as many people our age or older or a little bit younger to do the same exact thing, because I know there's so many people out there. And I don't really put a number on that because I'll take on whoever. Like, you know me, I'm talking to people in this office. Like, I care about each and every one of them to see them succeed, and I truly do. And I want to help the most I can because I feel fulfillment. What I get out of it is the fulfillment. I don't care about money made or anything like that, truthfully.
Yeah, and a lot of other teams that you'll see, whether it's in our company or just other industries, other businesses, it is more about the price tag, like what's in it for them.
Yeah.
But the environment that we've cultivated here is exactly what you touched on. It's just about being able to to help each other because we're all the same team and we're stronger together than if we're all individuals.
Absolutely.
So I think being an elite producer, like your time is super valuable.
Yeah.
But for you to even go up there this morning and like make yourself available to whoever, I think that's the best thing that you can do because I'm a firm believer in like, what goes around comes around type of thing. And if you have really good intentions and you're helping other people win, then that's gonna at the bare minimum have the impact for them, or it's gonna tee you up for success too. And for someone like you, like you're starting to bring in rapidly a good amount of really high quality agents, and in my opinion, that's a testament to the person that you've started to become and who you're becoming. They're not going to gravitate towards somebody that they don't look up to and they don't want to work with.
Right.
They'll go to the next guy.
Exactly.
So like you doing all of these things, like you're setting yourself up for a really strong foundation to where you're going to bring the right people in just based off of who you are.
Yeah.
And then like we talked about the first meeting this morning, being able to replicate yourself into others and then teaching them to do the same. And that's the multiplication, how you really grow your business. So diving into the leadership a little bit, what's something that you look for in a leader? Because there's a lot of newer agents like listening to this. So when you're first getting in, like what are some of the traits of a really strong leader that you look for?
I like somebody who will go to the ends for me, and that's just how I am as a person. Like, if I'm gonna lead you, I'm gonna give you everything I got and 10x that, because I think somebody who's willing to put all their time and effort and genuinely care about how you end up on the other side is someone that's going to be able to lead other people. And that's how I envision myself to be, but as long as that's in return, right? Making sure that those people who want the opportunity, want to be successful, want to do the right things, are coming in this with intention to do all the right things and put themselves in that position to be successful, utilize me, utilize you, right? And all their other resources of mentors and leaders in our industry and in our company. Because at the end of the day, if you don't put some skin in the game, well then how do you expect something to come out? So I think that's really important, of people being willing to reach out and willing to kind of put down their ego a little bit and make sure that they're able to be a sponge and learn from other people that have, again, been successful and they want to be like in future time.
Yeah. And this book right here, 5 Levels of Leadership, like we dove into it this morning as a leadership group, and we all went around the room and we went off the ratings of who we thought was where and broke that down. Then next week we're going to go over the checklist to really see where we should be. But for you, like you're stepping into the production role with your team, and you've obviously been producing at a really, really high level yourself.
Yeah.
The next key that where I think a lot of agents or leaders, even just people in business, get content is you're doing well right now for yourself. But if you don't have the right goals, like you just ran through, and the right intentions to help other people win, you would be perfectly complacent probably with where you're at for the most part, as far as like income coming in, like you're relatively comfortable.
Sure.
But for having that hunger to be able to help other people do the same, that's the difference I've noticed in quite a few well-respected leaders is they don't necessarily need to keep grinding. They're okay. But they do it for the better interest of the other people, and I think that's something that is super, super respectable.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. You see the most successful people in our industry doing exactly that, of making sure that they are always trying to get the next new agent to the next 10,000 profit month, to the agents who have been doing it for 6 months and have been sitting at 15, 20K a month, and getting them to 30, 40. it's always helping the people under them level up and never being satisfied with that, because it's the same thing with personally selling of you can always do more. Obviously, you're going to have to spend more to do more, but when you are complacent with where you're at, that's when everything you've worked on just slowly starts to downfall and fall apart. So,
And piggybacking off that, what's one of the biggest mistakes in business you've either made personally or you see a lot of newer agents or newer people in business that tend to fall into?
we actually talked about it this morning. You brought it up of in the morning meeting that there are so many people in this business that will get themselves to that breaking point where they're about to fail out and then try and make a change. And that's something that I talk a lot about is hold up the mirror for yourself because nobody else will do it for you. You know yourself best.
Look at them.
Hold up the mirror for yourself because no one else will do it for you. You know yourself best, and the things that you're doing wrong outside of work, inside of work, whatever aspect you want to look at it at, you are the only one who's going to be truthful on what you need to change. And until you change those things, you are going to be stuck at the same exact point and do not wonder why.
I love that.
Yeah.
Something about Tommy, if you haven't noticed, he's very, very direct and to the point, which that's something I appreciate is he's going to give it to you how it is. Like, there's no sugarcoating it.
I don't bullshit.
I swear. Okay, so next thing, Tommy, I want you to fill everybody in on what does the skill set progression look like for you specifically in business? What are some of the things that maybe you've done very well, and then some of the obstacles that you had to overcome to really fine tune to where you're at currently?
Yeah. Starting this out, just being brutally honest, I sucked. Like, I was bad. And I think that kind of took a hit and was a realization moment for me where I thought I learned quick. I thought I was talented, but getting into sales, like, even the way I was talking to people, like, my tone was horrible. And I was reading off the script and I might have been a little rude at times. Like, there was just a lot of things that I had to adjust. And that was hard for me to, I guess, sit back and realize, like, okay, this needs a lot more work than I thought it would have. And to be successful and to get to the point where I needed to be at, I need to put a lot more time and effort into that. So along the course of time, it took me about 3 to 6 months, actually more so like 6 months, to really get this down consistently. And with our leads at the time, with how the business was before it kind of evolved into Facebook leads, meaning age leads, I needed to keep doing the repetition, keep finding where I was failing at and not having the skill set that a top producer would, and keep talking to my mentors, doing accountability calls, or even just calling them in general. Hey, I keep getting stuck at banking, or I keep getting this objection when I'm giving them options. Really just understanding what my problems were rather than thinking that they were going to pick it out of me. So writing things down as I'm going through, tracking dials, tracking production, those metrics are what really helped me at the start figure out what my problems were, whether I wasn't just putting in enough dials and it was as simple as that, or I was getting 6 presentations a day but didn't have a close. So obviously I was struggling on the close. So just those different metrics were easy to look at and decipher what the problem was within my sales pitch, within my process, and everything throughout it, so that I could bring that to the people who knew how to fix it and they could help me from there.
That's huge because if you're not tracking anything, you have no way to measure growth.
Exactly.
And you don't know, like, very simple example, like in the gym, somebody who logs their weight progression, they don't have to even remember and have like the mental clarity to worry about that. And I think like being able to free up those types of decisions where you're just used to going through your process to where you don't have to have the wasted mental energy on like those little things because make it a part of your routine, which stems back to your identity because of who you believe you are, to where you're just going to do those things.
That's actually, I want to touch on that because I think that's the best analogy for it is when you're in the gym and just how we were talking about earlier, where it's not just the weights, it's the stuff outside of it. But when you're trying to grow muscle and you're trying to get bigger, you're going to have to continue going up in weight and continue going up in reps. Now, if you aren't tracking that, which I wasn't when I was in the gym, until I realized that I had to get better and continue growing throughout that process, because there were some weeks where I would go in the gym and I needed to up the weight, but I didn't remember what I was at last week, or I didn't remember how many reps I did at that specific weight last week. So it was almost like a regression at some times. So I just wanted to say that's a really good analogy.
Yeah. I got to be better about that too.
Yeah. We all can.
Yeah. So another really intriguing part of life that you actually brought up this morning that I want to dive into as well, pressure. So this concept of what is pressure versus like the actual perception of it. Like, is it a privilege, or is it something that's like gonna make you crumble? So I know you talk about this, like whether it's scaling your lead spend or just putting your back against the wall. What does that look like for you, and how do you have that perception where you're gonna actually like invite the pressure? Because that's something that not everybody comes in with that type of mentality. I know I didn't. Yeah. But like as you grow, like you learn like that's actually something you want to invite.
Yeah, I think it's crucial. Pressure is something that can be a gift and a curse, like we talked about earlier with a lot of other things, not only in business, but just in general. Pressure is going to make you make a decision today, right? So if you have pressure walking in and that's holding over your shoulders, well, then you're either going to make a decision to get out of that pressure, or you're going to make a decision to let it overcome you. So that's where the difference between most successful people in our industry specifically and most people that fail is they let that pressure overcome them instead of letting it drive them to that next growth factor or next step in this business. So a little bit on that of if you're personally selling, pressure needs to come from lead spend. You should always want to do more. You should always want to get to the top. And until you're at that point, you shouldn't have any other pressure. Now that I am number one, and I've been able to prove month after month that I can do this consistently and stay at the top. Also, I hold a pretty big gap. Now that I've been able to prove that, okay, now I've had to figure out what my next form of pressure is. One is obviously keeping that gap and holding it throughout the year, because I'm going to walk away with that watch. But also realizing that my next form of pressure is going to be me leveling up in the business and getting to that point where I'm able to draw people in and lead them to do the same exact things that I've been able to do and change their lives. So that's been something kind of as of recent that I've embodied a lot more and really getting into the swing of things there, where the people I'm bringing in, I'm fine-tuning that process to make sure that they're getting the resources and they're able to start this opportunity as quick as possible so that I'm able to help them reach that next level in their lives, while it's also going to help me reach that next level in my life. So.
That's key. And as you grow and develop, the things that you thought were pressure before or a problem, you're going to become a little more immune to it. Mm-hmm. And you're basically just upgrading your problems. So there is a lot of value in having that awareness to where you're going to add pressure from other things to get a little uncomfortable and to grow.
Yeah. And I'm sure there will be multiple other points throughout the course of my life and my business where I'm going to have to continue finding new points of pressure that will just drive me. But I think it's honestly something that you need to really embrace when you're getting into something like sales or business in itself.
Yeah, and when you have other eyes on you, that is going to be like your form of invisible accountability almost, to where they like your agents shouldn't be worried about if you're going to show up to the office or if you're going to be on time, if you're going to be waking up. Like
Right.
that should never happen. So just being able to have that in place where it's going to naturally just increase your performance in every aspect, because you have people that are looking up to you, and you don't want to let them down.
Yeah, and we touched on it this morning as well, which we talked a lot this
It was
morning.
deep.
Yeah. My goals for myself and voicing that to you and JP and Ben and all the other guys that I look up to in our industry is another form of pressure on myself, because if I don't hit that, like, it's a form of embarrassment for me and fear, where I don't want to wake up one day and, in a sense, disappoint you guys. Obviously, I rather shoot high and fall short of a goal but still be successful, rather than shoot low and hit that goal and not be one of the best and still be average at that point. However, it keeps me accountable every day, knowing that I have to continue doing the right things every single day, every single week, every single month, so that I don't fall so far short of that goal and I don't just become another number.
And what allows you, because I love that, what allows you to continue to do, because a lot of people will say that's just monotonous. Like, I don't want to do the same thing for 7 days a week for 12, 24, 36 longer months. So do you have like a crystal clear picture of what you're trying to become, or what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I see it a lot on the online space. I think a lot of people will see these days of like freedom. That's a very big word that people talk about. I don't think many people know what it actually means to be free or have freedom.
That's good.
So for me, what that looks like is I love to travel, like love, love, love it, because I just want to do and see more things. Like I don't want to be stuck in Michigan or stuck in a certain state, even in the country. Like I'm going to Europe next week, so I'm excited for that, so that I'm able to get a new experience that I've never had before. I've never been to Europe, and this job wouldn't have allowed. Like before this job, I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own, but this has allowed me to do that. So freedom in terms of travel and things that will make me happy as I go through the course of life. Again, going back to the things outside of this that are important to me, being a good husband, a good father. We talked about health a little bit, and the freedom to, like, I want my kids to play sports. I want them to play baseball. I want to be able to coach those teams or just be involved in their success when they're growing up and be around for those games. And I think everybody would wish to do that. So if I'm stuck to something where I can't leave work and I have an hour commute and I can't make those games, well, that's something that would genuinely make me upset in my future self, because I would want to be around for that stuff.
Yeah, that's fire. And that brings up another interesting question that I have. So everyone has like a different definition of success. Freedom's kind of tied in there, but success to me is, it's not about how much money you make. It's not about what you have. It's more so like what you've done. Like, what are you leaving behind?
Yeah.
I was talking with Joe Hogan this morning about Napoleon Hill. He's like, who is this dude that you're listening to? Like, he sounds like a beast. And he's like, it's Napoleon Hill. I was like, hasn't he been gone for 80 years or whatever, 60 years? And he looked it up, and like, sure enough, like, he's been gone a while. And we were just like, how awesome is that he's been gone for that long, but there's just so many resources that are still left behind, from him, that people use like every single day.
Right.
So to me, success is being able to have the respect of the people that you respect and look up to,
Mm-hmm.
and then also being able to have the freedom while being able to have that impact on others.
Yeah. And you hit on it for the most part, where just how we were talking about voicing my goals to you, JP, Ben, I think that's super important because when I do get to the point where I do hit those goals, I think it shows a lot about me of, okay, I actually did the right things. I didn't just say the things and never executed on it. And that's a stamp I want to leave on my legacy in terms of this business. Also, we also talked about it earlier, the people we're helping, right? I want to be able to help as many people get into this opportunity and be successful with it, because that's what's important, is changing their lives just like how it changed mine. Because if I was in school to this day, I would be graduating a week from now and I would not be happy. I would tell you that. I would still be searching for an opportunity, something outside of this. I wouldn't be fulfilled with me going to college for that long just because I didn't find the purpose in it. It wasn't for me. So people who are either in similar mindset to that, or people who are already out of college and just aren't finding success or aren't finding happiness in their career there, I would want to be able to help those types of people to transition into this so that they're able to become successful and achieve the things and strive for things that are higher than what they're doing right now.
I know you dropped out of school.
Yeah.
I went to school for 4 years, so I got the piece of paper. So we got a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But hit on what are a couple things, because we've been talking about environment, and proximity. What are a couple things that you think Visionaries does really well from a environment standpoint with the people and like just the alignment?
I think nobody is different from the person sitting to the left and the right of you in our room. Truthfully, everybody here has the same exact opportunity. If you're walking in that door, you are able to achieve as much as the guy who's number 1 on the board and just as much as the guy who's number 80 on the board. So it really comes down to us not feeling entitled or having ego or trying to act like the people who walk in here day one can't end up like the people who are in here like me on day 700 or whatever it is. Because truthfully, that's how it is within this business. And I think a lot of people fail to realize that. Also, our culture, I think we're really good at bringing people up. It's a lot better in the office just because we're all around each other all the time. So we all hype each other up and we have playful competitiveness, and that's always fun. And then growing those relationships outside, like last Saturday I came to your house. Like we hang out outside of work. It's not just a work relationship. We're all able to connect on a deeper level and actually become friends outside of work and have similar interests and align more on where we're trying to go. And we have some fun.
Yeah. Got to be able to have the fine line for sure.
Yeah.
But I like that, and like peeling it back even more, so many times like you'll look at Tommy now and it's very easy, to come to the judgment of, well, that's just who Tommy is. But what you guys don't see, and honestly, I didn't even see it because I wasn't here either. You don't see all the things that he had to do to get where he is currently. All the setbacks, the obstacles, the challenges. Like, it wasn't easy, and that's all what's laid out the groundwork for you to be here and to be the first one that we're having on, is because you have been doing all the right things. You have been crushing it. And I think back, I don't remember the whole story, but when you first started, you didn't have a ton of money, and you were just using the credit card.
Yeah.
Swiping the plastic, putting the pressure on yourself, which had to be very uncomfortable.
100%.
And going off of that, like the abundance mindset. And I remember for me, I wasn't even going to spend the extra $3.25 on guac at Chipotle. And I really appreciate a mentor of mine who helped me come to this realization, because in my head I had a bad day where I had 3 sales, and he goes, "How much did you make today, do you think?" I said, probably $1,000. And he goes, you're worried about $3.25 for guac and you made $1,000 today? And really what it did is like, it just helped me get back to gratitude, because like it's very easy when you're doing something very challenging like this job. Like sometimes you can fall into that trap of like having too hard of expectations for yourself, or just expecting everything to go smoothly. And really that's not the case. Like that's why we're compensated at a high level, is because not everybody can do it, or not everybody's willing to do so. And having that frame shift like was very valuable for me, and it's something like with the lead spend that is uncomfortable at first, and then as you realize like that's your progressive overload in the gym, is I got to add more weight, I got to spend more on leads. Like that's how you grow your production and your business. And then going back to the environment, I knew you worked at a prior company in this space.
Mm-hmm.
So the culture, I'm sure, was pretty strong there, just in a different sense.
Yeah.
So how valuable is it to feel like you're a part of a team? Because I know we both come from the sports backgrounds, and a lot of the people here have that as well. So I know you're super competitive, one of the most competitive people that I know. So like, what is the significance of doing it with the right people, the people that are going to push you to be better but still have fun?
You said it in that last part of still have fun. That's the most important part of doing something like sales, because we talk about it all the time of how hard this is, how it's going to challenge you, how a lot of people fail out, and how there are some success stories and then there's some fail stories. The main thing that I think attributes to me to keep going here is having fun with it, looking forward to showing up, looking forward to reach the new level, not only with myself, but for example, Fabian, which I'm sure he'll be on here at some point. I saw him when he was in our back room at our last office, just kind of snuggled away and was just starting to get this going. And he was like super shy and not the person he is today. And like seeing him evolve has been so cool, and so many other people out there, because he came in at 18, had a lot of success a couple months in, and then had to figure out for himself when he did hit the roller coaster point where you had some highs and some lows, how to get out of that and how to keep pushing forward and never losing sight and belief within this like opportunity. And again, I think that was very cool to see of not only him, but other people who have come in and been able to do stuff like that, and just seeing them evolve as people like that. It's just fun. I like to see others succeed, no matter whether it's from me or not. Like I really just like to see other people do well. So
I think that's what sets us apart. Like if you were to summarize it,
yeah,
as far as like the group, because I've been on quite a few teams, and seeing the general appreciation for one another, like within the organization, is something that is undeniable, and I've never seen it. And
yeah.
I think that that's ultimately like what's going to separate your team from the goals that you're trying to reach as a unit, is just how cohesive are you.
Yeah.
And you're never always going to get along. And like in the 5 dysfunctions of a team, they talk about conflict, and we actually could probably use a little more conflict, to be honest with you, because we need more people like Tommy that are being very stern, like with the standard, and that like that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So like that's something that we can try to implement as well, is inviting a little more conflict. But I'd say like things are going very smoothly as far as like the support and the genuineness.
To add to that too, because I just kind of thought about it, looking at the leaderboard today, it's cool to see on the competitive standpoint of like, okay, I'm number one. But what's much more valuable to me is seeing that we have 10 guys up there through quarter one of 2026 that are over 100K and all on pace to hit President's Club, when we had 0 last year. So like that's the most important thing to me, where those guys all have the potential and the ability and have all started off 2026 the right way, that we're all going to hit a goal that nobody in our team has hit yet. So
That is wild. I don't want to breeze over that because last year there was a few less agents, probably 60, but nobody hit President's Club. And in this space, 400K of issued production is President's Club, which is a phenomenal feat. So we had 0. And this year we have at least 10. I think it could be 12 right now that are on pace to hit that. And like as the year goes, like we're going to heat up even more. So our goal at the beginning there was 20. So I think that's super realistic. There's probably some people that aren't even here yet that are going to put themselves in the running, especially if you guys team up with Tommy. He'll make sure that you get there.
yeah, gotta sling it.
That's it. I wanna go into social media a little bit.
Sure.
So change of pace, make it a little more fun. So you've had some pretty crazy videos. Some of them have gotten 120,000 views, 200,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's a result of you just being very consistent. You don't sugarcoat anything. Like you just put it out there, like how you're seeing it. Yeah. So fill us in a little bit on what you're trying to do with that.
I mean, I'm trying to draw a crowd a little bit. I'm trying to get some recognition just because I think that'll help my business from social media and getting the word out there and like what I can do to help other people. But I think starting it, I had a lot different perspective on it rather than now. I have a lot more fun with it now because I understand what I'm trying to do and like what the result is going to be when I'm putting stuff out there. At the start, it was more so like, okay, like how do I get people to see this? How do I get people to like me? But like I quickly realized that it's a lot about the hate that comes from it too. And like I honestly like it now. I think it's funny when people will like comment hate stuff. And there's a video I posted, Juliana one that was probably 2 months ago at this point, that I still wake up in the morning and there's like hate comments on it or just new likes coming in, which is really cool to see that video is still getting pushed out there just because it's so far back in my memory now in terms of like what I've put on my social media, where like it goes back to our identity talk as well, where I'm kind of falling into a point where I'm really just being myself on there. Like there's nothing that I'm trying to do that is fake about either what I do here. I'm very honest with it, or how I am as a person. Like that, it's just how I am. Like I'm straight to the point. I cuss. Like all right, like I don't know. I like to think at things a very serious standpoint. Yes, I can have fun, but there's a lot more things that I'm focused on in life right now that I think I've been putting out there a lot more. So,
yeah, it's huge, and I'm by no means a master of the game. I've been trying to be better with it and just consistently post, because that's something like I could do this all day and even speak in front of a lot of people.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think a lot of people just make it a bigger deal than it is. To your point, like just being genuine, that's like the most valuable thing. Like being vulnerable and being transparent, because that's how people relate to you.
Yeah.
And I think you do a really good job with that. And even with this, right here, you've expressed some of your vulnerabilities, and like that establishes trust. And like as a leader, like you are, one of the key leaders here, being able to be open to critiques is like one of the most powerful things to me, because that shows that you're always willing to learn and grow.
Yeah.
And like social media, I don't really like it, to be honest with you, but it's your personal brand.
For sure.
And how many people you'll hop on the phone with now, they're going to say like, what's your Instagram? Or they're just going to go look you up. And like, I know for me, like if I'm doing 10 interviews in a day, like probably 7 of them are going to look at my Instagram. I'm going to go look at theirs, because It's like, all right, like who am I speaking with, depending on the connection. So building that, like it's your resume. I think that's really true. Now, the only silver lining is a lot of people are going to put, not necessarily fake perception, but they're going to build the perception that they want you to see.
Right.
And I think it's awesome to see someone like you who you're just putting your life out there. Like you're not changing anything. You're not trying to doctor it up to look fancier or to look more well off than you are. Like what you see is what you're getting, and
Right.
you're just putting that out there for everybody. And for the people that come to you and they say, hey, like I really respect you, I want to be like you, then like those are the people that you're gonna help win.
100%. And the personal brand part is super important because guys in our industry, Sean Connor, Mike Schill, they've touched on that because they came from a different industry than when they did this. And I think they touched on it a couple different times at some of our conventions where that personal brand is what helped them getting started over here and gave them some credibility because that's the one thing that never leaves you. Even if you leave this industry and you go do something else, that's the one thing that you can always hold on to is what do people know you for? How do people see you? And what is your credibility online and on that space? I don't like it either, but I know it's essential to most businesses in today's time, even if you're just like a mom and pop shop, like most people are getting into, all right, we got to create an Instagram, a Facebook, a this, a that, so they can kind of get their name out there. So
It's advertising. Like that's
Exactly.
how you market your business or yourself. You know,
Yeah.
and in this space, we are our business. So,
Yeah.
like you being able to be fully transparent, like that's the number one thing in business is being able to trust who you're doing it with. And like when you're establishing trust right away, that's how you really have a strong, foundation and connection. So
Yeah.
for anyone who they're in that struggle of they want to post, maybe they don't know how, they're overthinking it, overanalyzing it. I did that. What's the first post? Like are you making it about what you do, or are you doing it more so about things that you're doing outside, like gym or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I related it to what I do because again, I see it more as like a personal brand, a business move. Like that's at the end of the day, I want people to know me for what I'm doing, which would be life insurance. So that's why I put something out there related to that. Obviously, you can get into being relatable and like I posted gym stuff along this time, so it's not directly all with insurance, but things that you do in your life, if that is some sort of business or sales like us, or you're really big in the gym. I know there's a lot of gym influence out there, like on TikTok and Instagram. So like whatever you're doing and you're super passionate about, make it around that. Like that's your personal brand. That's what you love to do. Okay, don't try and go with the grain or don't try and be the next trendy person. Like do what you do and then try and implement things that will make more people see that through the algorithm.
That's it. Yeah. And what's really integral, just like sales, energy.
Yeah.
And like that's something I'm naturally a little more calm and neutral. So like I have to be more passionate. And just like over the phone, when they can't see you, so they don't have, unless you're on FaceTime,
Right.
they can't see your smile, your body language, your demeanor. So you really have to be able to convey your belief and conviction through the phone with your tone of voice and delivery.
Yeah.
And I would argue social media is probably even more important because over the phone, it's more about just kind of being even keel, calmed, and like neutral. But social media, you want to probably speak a little bit faster because you have a shot clock.
Yep.
And you have to have the energy to keep people engaged, just like if you're on an interview or if you're on a sales call.
Something I had to learn when I was making my first video in March when I started doing it consistently again. When I was out in Tampa, that's something Dylan Ivan had mentioned to me because I kept taking it, and he was like, "Dude, you got to be higher energy. Like you got to get it out fast." And I'm like, "Okay, I understand what he's saying." And then the results of that video really showed because I was high energy. So many people saw it at such a short amount of time, and then still continue to see it at this day. So,
Juliana, I'm gonna you up.
oh yeah.
All right, so I want to wrap this up. I know we've been going strong for a while here. Tommy is somebody that I really respect and admire, and we really dove into it. So I hope you guys can really see like how valuable of a story you can use, and like use that as your proof of concept. I know you did that. Like you would look to other people and use their successes and their wins as belief for you. And that's one of the most important things we can do when we don't have that proof of concept for ourselves yet. We can steal it from other people. So I really want you guys to take everything that Tommy had to say like very, very seriously, going back to the intentionality, the leverage, the identity, his habits, all of these like very solid principles to where we're going to be able to all level up together. And that's something that, Visionaries has been about since day one when we came into the space almost a year ago, which is crazy to think about now. It was May 13th, I believe, the first working day. But everybody wants to improve in all the aspects of life. And we said it from day one. We're the greatest team to ever do it. And you best believe it, that's the trajectory that we're on, and we're going to continue to do that. So, Tommy, for everybody out there, why are we the greatest team to ever do it? And what's one thing that you would leave them with to impact them?
Yeah. We're the greatest team to ever do it because we actually embody it when we say that. We show up on time. We set our standards high. We don't slack off. We don't make excuses. We make sure that everybody around us is doing the right things and have the same goals and vision so that we can all excel in life, not only financially, but mentally, spiritually, and everything else that comes with doing this together. We want to make sure that we have a room full of 19 to 25-year-olds and even some outliers there.
31.
31. JP. We want to make sure that all those people have the same vision of just being better in a general sense, and that we're all able to do it together, utilize each other, and build off of each other's successes so that everyone gets to the point where they want to be. And that's why we're the greatest team to ever do it. One thing I would leave everybody with here is it took me a matter of 3 seconds to come up with it because we have a sign right behind the cameras that says bet on yourself. That is the best thing that you're able to do at any point in your life when you finally hit that road stop to strive to do more than what you've been accustomed to. Bet on yourself, believe in what you're doing. Because no matter what it is, it doesn't have to be life insurance. It could be any other form of business or any other endeavor you might have. If you don't believe in yourself and bet on yourself, you are always guaranteed to fail. And even if you fail betting on yourself and believing in yourself, you're going to feel a lot better about it afterwards. So that's what I would leave with everyone here.
I love it. Yeah. Thomas, it was a pleasure. I'm super excited to see what the whole team does, of course, but like the growth that you've had in the last 6 to 9 months has really been remarkable. So I'm super excited for it, and I know you guys are going to be staying documented with it as well. And I'm super hyped to keep pumping these out because I think there's going to be a lot of really, really good value. And anytime like I get to pick the brain of someone of Tommy's caliber, I find that super advantageous. So I want you guys to be able to do the same. Stay tuned for the next one, and we are the greatest team to ever do it.
Visionaries, baby.
Hey, hello, they know.